Hey, everybody.
Sorry, I'm sniffling. We have a lot. They did a prescribed burn yesterday in Wind Cave National Park,
Oh,
and the
uh-huh.
smoke was thick
Oh,
here.
no. I hate that.
But it's all good.
All good today?
Yeah, just a little froggy after it.
Yeah. Hey there, Simply Jan. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Jan. I'm just waiting for the
Mm.
notification to go out so I can have it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting for the notification.
Just so everybody's aware, you might see me look down sometimes to read comments because I'm having some technical difficulties with my laptop showing my face. Hey there, Abby. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, everybody. My Renaissance Grandma, Bountiful Harvest. Hello, hello.
Good to see you all. So I'm having to use my phone. I've got my laptop down here so I can actually read the chat. So if you see me looking down a lot, that's why. Hey there, Milk and Honey and Huga Homestead. Good to see you all.
And
Thank
thanks
you
for
all
the
for
well
coming.
wishes, CB at Hugo Homestead. Really appreciate it. CB gets the whole dog thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a million dogs over there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I know she's got fosters too.
Aw, that's awesome. We fostered a dog for a while.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. So, now we've got some people joining in. Lisa, how was your week?
I love this topic because it's so relevant to me this week.
It is. It is.
Let's see. We have had, I'll leave Diesel for last,
Mm-hmm.
but we have had Norman, our meat pig, one of the piglets from Fiona's litter, had a goopy eye. So he is getting eye medication, and thankfully his eye is looking better.
Oh, good.
Eleanor
Mm-hmm.
and Fiona.
Uh-huh.
Eleanor and Fiona have what I call pinkish underside skin. So, like their underbelly, where the tender skin is, and the inside of their legs is kind of pinkish. There's no lesions, no sores, which is typical with mange or mites. So I'm really torn. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but now I'm. One of the things is coonies blow their coats. For those of you who are not familiar with that, they literally lose their hair and then get a new coat.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's all over, sometimes it's partial. And so the girls, for the first time, are blowing their coats after their weaning. And so now I notice Fiona is looking a little pink. So that's what's got me worried that something's a spreading through the herd. So we bought Dectomax, which is a dewormer. It's a mite treatment. It's just an overall good treatment. It'll treat mites, mange, whatever's going on, even though their skin looks healthy. And so we will be injecting the entire herd and then spraying bedding. So, and yeah, Jan, what happened with Norman is that there's straw for his bedding, and because he's alone, which was not the plan, we planned to have two pigs together. Because he's alone and it's so cold at night, he's burrowing face first right into the straw, and so he would get straw stuck on his eyes and so on. So it's like a secondary infection because he probably got straw in it.
Yeah.
And everything. So, he burrows right in with his eyes open, I'm sure. Yeah. So anyway, he's getting better. And then, like I said, the girls, the only other concerning thing is Eleanor has been really thin since she weaned, and we've been feeding her a lot, and she's still not a lot of weight gain. So that's the other concern we have. So everybody's getting treated today because, as you know, we had to drive to our what is it, our 2-hour tour, 3-hour tour to get medication. So we're able to get that. Oh, thank you, Jan. Yeah, we lost a few piglets when we farrowed, and it, it is what it is. It's reality, So, and then Diesel.
Little Diesel. And hey there, Happy Acres Homestead. Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, everybody coming in. So yeah, it is sad. I mean, it's a reality when you lose them. We lost one to castration that had a scrotal hernia. And for those of you who don't realize what that is, when you go to cut for a hernia, their intestines come out. There's no nice way to say it. We then I begged a vet because vets don't take care of pigs here. Usually it's just the pig sick or the pig dies. That's it. I begged a vet for over 20 minutes on the phone to do the other pig that had a scrotal hernia, and he lost that one. So I feel better in the sense that he struggled too, because he was an old hog vet actually back in Iowa in the day. So, but anyway, back on track to Diesel. Diesel started vomiting on Sunday. One time he vomited, didn't think too much of it. It continued all throughout the afternoon. And once he got to about 10 times, it was like 6 o'clock at night. And I just said, the vet is in Rapid City, so they close at 10. We better call now. And we took him there, and we thought he was showing signs of a blockage because Old English bulldogs are notorious for eating things they shouldn't eat. And sometimes it doesn't come out. So there was a suspicious spot on his x-ray that was inconclusive. And long story short, they do not think it's a blockage, but his entire gastrointestinal tract was inflamed, full of gas, possibly the chicken poop he likes to eat on my front lawn, even though we try not to let him do that. So that's about it. But he's home now. He's just acting still very off. $1,500 later for the vet bill. But, again, that's my responsibility.
How can you not? We had, hey there, Blue. Good to see you.
Hey, Blue.
Everybody, you're going to see me looking down because I got to look down to see the chat. My camera's not working on my laptop, so I'm having to use my phone. And excuse these surroundings. As I mentioned on our previous live, we've got a lot of remodeling going on in the new place. So, Lisa, I know you're aware of what I went through with my little dog girlfriend who had a scenario where she was vomiting blood. We thought she was vomiting blood, and I'm sure that there was some of it because it turns out it was coming from the very back of her mouth. But we took her down too, and I had a dog who passed last year, and I know she only had a couple hours left, not a full 24 hours, we'll put it that way, of her life. She was 18. She was old. And I took her down and had her put to sleep because I didn't want to see her suffer anymore. I'm somebody who takes their dogs to the vet. And I know a lot of people choose not to, and they choose to handle it in other ways. And I mean, I've had things happen where I've taken care of it myself, but I'll take them to the vet too, because I feel like, how can I not? You know what I mean? They're like my little fur babies. Hey, back to nature.
Yeah, Milk and Honey Heritage Farm says they have a wire-haired griffin, looks like a Chewbacca, has swallowed a sock twice in surgery. And yeah, and so here's the deal. Our Yogi, who we named the farm after, never ever touched anything. He was good, no problem. We went to North Carolina when Ryan got the job there, and I went to go down and look around, and we left him with my mom and stuff, and he swallowed something. When we got back, he was showing the same signs as Diesel, and he had picked up a cork somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
Lo and behold,
Mm.
we years later, we're in North Carolina. Hey, back to nature. We're in North Carolina, and he never ever bothered. Like I had a dish with like I had a brooch in there from a scarf and stuff like that, and he never bothered that stuff ever.
Mm.
Ryan was sleeping because he was working second shift at the time, and he heard something hit the floor, and by the time he got to Yogi, Yogi had already ate it.
Oh.
And so he had to have surgery a second time.
Oh my gosh.
And Diesel, like we know Diesel loves paper towels and napkins that smell like food, and then they come out the other end.
Yes.
But
Yep.
but Yogi had dementia when he did it the second time.
Oh, gotcha.
So, it's just so weird. But anyway, he's doing better.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank
why did you
God.
bring this topic up today, Mountain Grandma?
So I felt like after honestly, your story of Diesel, what was going on with him, and then just thinking through while we've been moving and what happened with girlfriend. Like, remember, we were like, the house was up for sale. My dog's like, we woke up this big old pile of blood in our bed and a huge like golf ball sized blood clot out on the back porch, and having to take her down amidst the move. And then we got here, and as you can see, like this will be our bedroom. Obviously we're not in it, we're sleeping in the living room. Our animals had to come first, the goats, the chickens. When I say our animals, I'm talking collectively the family's animals, because Katie and Blue, those are their goats and chickens, like right now, really. But we had to set them up, like we had to get their pens set up and make sure they were all cozy and safe and all of that good stuff. I mean, they really come first. And hearing what you're going through with Diesel, it just reminded me, as we are, evaluating our goals and looking at, what we've done this year, what we're going to be doing for the fall and the winter, like this, the animal emergencies happen, and being prepared for that, just being prepared for the winter that's before us. I know here in Missouri, we're supposed to be getting a doozy with ice and everything. So we're already talking about how to maybe modify, the shelter that we have to make it a little warmer for them as as we approach that. Because it gets cold in northern Arizona. We get down in the 20s and the teens, but we don't have the ice and things. So that's what's going to be. We have snow, and the snow melts.
Right,
which
right.
is wonderful about Arizona. The snow melts. But I thought this would be a great discussion to have, and to just kind of get feedback or questions from anybody. Hey, our new land, good to see you all.
Well, I have a tip for you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait until Missouri's going to have an ice storm. Go out and get stock tank heaters now.
Stock tank heaters?
Yeah, you need things to keep the water from freezing.
Okay.
And you need outdoor electrical cords if you have to make them travel. Get the kind that lock when you plug them together, and you have to push a button for them to pull apart.
Okay.
Because they're safer. But one of the things that I want to bring up is financial preparedness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I'm going to get a little soapboxy, just a little warning.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is something I firmly believe in. So I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
We have an old English bulldog.
Mm-hmm.
They are notorious for having health issues and health problems and all of that. And we joke that Yogi was the $2 million dog. He surpassed the 1 million point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were at the vet with him constantly. The 2 surgeries probably cost us over $10,000.
Mm.
They were ridiculous.
Dang.
Blue's getting popcorn. She's like, uh-oh, Lisa's on her soapbox. So really good, the reason why I bring this up, and hopefully this will help you understand it and not be so mad at me, is that everybody thinks bulldogs are adorable.
Mm-hmm. They
You
are.
either love them or you hate them, right? And everybody thinks they're adorable. They're so funny, all that stuff. They're expensive.
Mm.
They're expensive. We love them. We fell in love with the old English breed and really enjoy them. But we took them on knowing how expensive they were going to be. And let me give you a few examples. Forget the surgeries because that's stuff you don't plan on for a minute, but everyday life, special food, medication for allergies. They have skin problems. They have palate problems. Luckily, we've not dealt with palate problems. They are brachycephalic, which means that they struggle to breathe in hot weather. So they need to have cool air.
Huh.
So, for example, when we lived in North Carolina, we had air conditioning, obviously for us too. But, you know, it's the reality. One of the things is like you have to take it. You know how they say, do your research before you take an animal on?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Do your research before you take an animal on, because once you take them on, I'm a firm believer in it's my responsibility, regardless of whether they're for meat, for pet, for fun,
Mm-hmm.
they're my responsibility.
Yeah.
So, you know, that means that you have to be financially prepared for vet calls. And I'll give you examples. We had a piglet born without a rectum, which was not planned, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those rare things that happen. And it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I paid for euthanasia after begging the same vet to do that for me because I just couldn't bear to put it down myself.
Yeah.
I will in the future. This was our second litter, and I just couldn't. Having to pay for the castration because we had a complication, having to pay for eye medication, having to pay for an emergency vet visit for a bulldog,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you know
Yep.
that it's the right thing to do. And it's because it's your responsibility as an animal owner, right? So it gets expensive real quick because I can tell you in the past week between Diesel's visit, I've also had to buy stock in some eye medication to have on hand because everybody knows as of June 2023, they are going to be limiting livestock medication from
What?
over the counter to
You're
prescription
kidding
only,
me.
including some worming medications.
Oh, of course.
So life is going to be
my-
really hard,
Wow.
especially when I don't have a swine vet to help me. I have to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is also purchasing $80 worth of Dectomax,
Mm-hmm.
syringes,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff,
Yep.
you know, and yeah, having to pay for all of the paper towels used to clean up the drool. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Charlie Fallen, Arkansas Veterans Gear Griden. But yeah,
Good
so
guy.
it's a lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I know it's all stuff you guys know, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's sort of like when I'm not complaining because it's just one of those weeks, and this is reality. Animals are going to cost you money.
Mm-hmm. They are. They are. And I did not know about the limitations on the medications you could buy at the feed stores that was occurring next year.
Yep, look it up online. There's a full list. Part of it is the dewormers, which really irritates me like none other.
Yeah.
Because the vet that I begged to help me has been really gracious, but he's really old and he's very sick. So the problem is when he's gone, I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's, I'm not being crude. That's a reality.
Yeah. Hey, RG.
Hey, RG. So we've been trying, every time we have an experience, we try to stock up on it. So luckily, Diesel had antibiotic eye ointment that my mentor said would work on Norman's eye. And so what I did was I bought what I was able to. I bought 2 tubes to have on hand because they'll be good for 2 years, I think. And it may be wasted money, but I have it on hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
I
are your
just,
thoughts?
whenever I've had to take the dog to one of our dogs, or to the vet or anything, I've had any experience, I try to save the medication, and I document on the bottle as much as I can the
Yep.
dose and frequency, who it was for. And I really try to retain that just for the future, just um, in case we run into that problem again, or I know somebody else that does. And I always learn. I'm always learning when a dog has to go to the vet. I am actively learning about how to treat whatever they went to the vet for. In hopes that if I run into that again, that I can take care of it myself. In your instance, I mean, unless you have an x-ray machine, like, you know, when you run into like what you had to take Diesel for, you're going to have to take him to the vet to get an x-ray.
Yeah, and x-rays don't show everything. So like when Yogi had his second episode, x-rays did not show that along with the brooch, he had already eaten a nail file, an
Oh
emery
my
board,
gosh.
and a hair tie.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why it being inconclusive on Diesel's x-ray was, not exactly reassuring, because it could be that he ate a sock, and the other thing is that passing on the information you learn. So for example, when Norman had the goopy eye, I have a mentor, Halbert Farm in Texas, which is Rebecca and Josh, and they raise kune pigs, and they have access to great vets. Like they've even taken piglets to A&M. And so I contacted her and said, hey, Norman's got a goopy eye. It doesn't look like entropy. I think that's how you say it, or entropy, something like that. It means their eyelashes are growing into their eye. He did not have that problem. And I said, it started with straw. It's probably getting infected. And she had sent me pictures of the products. And this is what she followed it up with. And this is what I love about her. She said, that's how we were treating a piglet. We went to the vet, and the vet said, that's how you do it. So she had been, she had said, I spent a lot of money at the vet, but now you know how to do it. So it's good that you learn from those experiences and not just play vet, but that that's what worked in the past. And so I had passed it on to another homesteader yesterday, and said, hey, FYI, canine antibiotic ointment works pretty well on pig eyes. She said,
good to know.
And her answer was, and chicken and turkey eyes. Don't ask me how I know.
That is good to know. So the canine antibiotic ointment.
Terramycin.
Okay. How do you spell that?
TERRMYCIN.
MYCIN.
Hey, Ark Wildman.
Hey, Ark Wildman.
So I bought 2 tubes of it. It's about $26, $27 a tube. I got mine off Chewy, but you can get it at Tractor Supply. All that stuff. And the Dectamax is $79.99. DECTOMAX. Hey, Shift Kicker, welcome in.
And the Dectamax was what you were going to put on the Coonies because they have some kind of an unknown skin irritation, right?
Yeah, manger mites. What suspected manger mites? So we're going to do it, but it's Dectamax is also a wormer, so it's time for them to be wormed. So it's an injection medication, which I hate doing.
I know.
Everybody says
I hold them and have the hubby do it. We had to do that to goats before.
Everybody says, oh, just give them feed. And they stand there. Not my ladies. After the first injection, they're like, once they feel it, they're like, yeah. And they back up. And then you got to stick them again. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find oral, but I read that the best thing is Dectamax because it'll clear it up twice.
Yeah.
Clear it up quick. You have to give it twice.
Yeah.
So everybody's getting it. Just to be sure.
Hey, Shift Kicker. So everybody in the chat, if you see me looking down, that's because I'm having to use my phone. Ark Wildman, my computer is still not letting me show my face on the screen. So I've got my phone up here and my laptop down below. It's still not working. I'm gonna have to figure out what the deal is. But
I got my phone down here too for looking in the chat in case we get a bot coming in.
So thank you. So hey, George Mitchell.
Hey, George.
So everybody, we're talking about our goals and how they surround our priorities with our animals and the animal emergency preparedness. And Lisa just shared, I don't know if anybody here is not aware. I wasn't aware until you just shared it, Lisa. As of June 2023, there's going to be Lisa, is it all medications?
I'm going to look it up while you're talking. It's
okay.
over-the-counter livestock medications. There's a list of them that will require a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look it up while you're talking.
Awesome. It's going to include some wormers. And she shared a story. You guys can go back or follow her channel too and watch there, because she'll probably be sharing more info there. But she has some pigs that, or how many pigs? Just one that has the goopy eye?
One with a goopy eye, yep.
Okay. So one of the pigs, the Kuni pigs, has a goopy eye, and she's treated it with terramycin, which is a canine antibiotic ointment. And then she's also got some of her Kunis that are having some evidence of skin irritation, and she's not sure if it's mites or mange or something like that. But she's treating them with Dectomax injections because it's also a wormer and they're due for that. Hey, Lisa, so my next question is going to be, like, what other medications do you plan on stocking up on before June? Anything that you've used so far and that you're aware of? And then I'm also curious how often you do the wormer on the pigs.
I deworm the pigs every 3 months.
Okay.
Some people do them twice a year. I prefer to do them every 3 months. And the reason why is because we have to be very proactive to prevent issues from getting to the point where we need a vet, because we don't really have one to treat them. So some people are against medications, but I'm a firm believer in we need to be preventative and proactive. So we do them every 3 months, and our preferred is not injection. So like we don't do vaccinations for our herd. So for example, we will stock up on iron and look for the latest dates, and that's an injection, because our piglets, when they are born, right after farrowing, they get a very small amount of iron to ensure their health and well-being, because piglets can be anemic. People say they can get it from the dirt, and yes, they can, but our piglets are in the barn, which have floors. So they're not really on the dirt. And when they're newborns, they're not really rooting as much as Kuni piglets don't root as much as commercial hogs. So, my breeder had told me she was told that by one of the top swine vets in the United States. So she has been doing it and has noticed an increased health. So we have iron for the piglets. We also do deworming every 3 months, and we alternate between ivermectin one time and fenbendazole the other time, and that's because one kills different worms than the other. So it's Swine Guard and ivermectin, which is the basically the equine wormer. So we give that to them, and they're both oral. The Dectomax is a pretty large bottle, so we will keep that on hand. I will probably buy another bottle of that right before June. because it should last me 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that I will probably start vaccinating piglets before they leave the farm next year
Mm-hmm.
with the Dectomax, because I was reading that their immune systems dip with the transitions.
Oh, uh-huh.
So, yep, good rotation is super important. And we do rotate, but with 2 acres of land, we are limited. But we do rotate. And when we're not able to rotate, we are raking up pastures to keep pastures as clean as possible, getting feces out of there.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Um,
Lisa,
yeah,
my phone just told me I need to plug it in.
go
So
ahead.
I'm gonna go grab that real quick. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, George. I hope that's a good thing that I remind you of her. What else will be stocking up on? Dewormer will be stocking up on. We always have a good supply of it. We just stocked up on eye ointment, which is terramycin. I mean, we live in a rural area, so even to go get the Dectomax, we had to, drive 2 hours. So round trip just to get it. So I just think, it's important. And yeah, vet wrap is really good. Yep, plain color. I agree. It's sort of like when we knew the girls were pregnant. When we knew they were going to farrow, we spent 3 months getting ready for that. We had chlorhexidine. We bought powdered colostrum. We bought goat's milk in case we had a bottle baby, so to speak. We bought. We always have scalpels on hand. Not that we're not vets, but when you have a wound and you need to, or an abscess that you need to lance, we have sterile scalpels. That way, can prevent infection. We have antibiotics on hand now. LA200, because Eleanor, when she farrowed, had some discharge that was not clear and should have been clear, but not concerning. So lots of stuff. I'm looking up that link for you.
Yeah. Are you seeing anything on that list that is concerning beyond what you shared? Does it look extensive? I guess does it look like that list is like super long?
Oh, I know it's super long. I'm trying to find it right now. So I'll let you continue while I look for it, so that way I can post it in the chat.
I think that's great to keep that in mind and to have a list. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because I mean, we have animals and I'm planning on getting more animals. So I want to be able to do what I can. Hey, Charles Bushcraft family and John Southern Exposure. Good to see you all.
Terramycin's on there. All antibiotics.
Wow.
Tons of antibiotics. I mean, they have all the names. Let me see. Antibiotics affected by FDA guidance. That's not the full list. Let me keep looking.
I'm wondering too, with that change, it makes me want to educate myself more on what kind of herbs we can use with our animals.
Yep.
It's not something I've spent a lot of time looking into, to be honest. But it makes me want to pull information together and have that ready.
Absolutely. Monica at Bland's Promised Land Ranch is very much watch and wait and see how things go. And I've learned a lot from her. I think for me, the hard part is you don't know when it crosses the line from watch and wait to a bigger issue. And I know for us, we have to prevent that bigger issue. Hey, John, Southern Exposure.
Hey, Doreen's Food Prep Resource. Good to see you. I want to throw out an herbal product name that I now have in my medicine stores that I was given by a vet. And I think I'm going to remember I told you when Lisa, when girlfriend went to the vet, that I was going to share like what they gave me, because even the dosages of that medication, I feel like that's key. And what size is your animal? But they had given her, and anybody who's interested in this, I'll tell you how it's spelled because it's Chinese. Hey, Wise Owl 1111. 11 Wise Owl 1111. I've got to deviate. I'm such a train of thought talker.
Hi, Wise Owl.
I'm one of those people that has seen the number 11 and 11 a lot, and I even have a stepdaughter who her birthday ended up being 11/11. I thought that was so funny too. Well, it's a long story, but it was funny in a lot of ways. But anyhow, the medication they gave my dog. So I woke up, big old pile of blood in her dog bed. I found a blood clot like the size of a golf ball. And I'm trying to be precise. I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
About the size of a golf ball on my back porch. And we found like drips going to where she was going and jumping out the dog door. And we watched her and she kept throwing up blood. And so our concern was this dog, we know she has some kind of cancer. We declined the cancer treatment for her because she wasn't given a good outcome with it anyways. And I didn't want to put her through that. So we just watch her and she's fat and happy. I mean, she's doing good. So we took her to the vet because I felt like I should. There's nothing I could do for her. My husband looked in her mouth. We could, because that was our thing. Like, where is this coming from?
Right.
And he didn't see anywhere that it was coming from. Now, when we took her to the vet, I held her. The vet looked in her mouth. Turns out she had lost a very back tooth. So when my husband was looking, he's like, it's coming from her throat. Like, it's because she had so much blood back there. So the medication that they gave us to give to her, one of them was an antibiotic, and one of them was called Yunnan Baiyao, and it's Chinese. It's 3 words. It's Yunnan, Yunnan, second word Bai, Bai, last word Yao, Yao. And I looked this up that was to stop the bleeding. And I looked this up online, and it's an herbal medication that midwives carry for when women are giving birth. So we made sure we had that for my daughter's home birth, just in case she was bleeding a lot.
Wow.
And I will tell you this, there's one little center. So it's like a regular, you know how the press out of the pills. So you press out the pills. In the very middle of this rectangle package was this little bitty circle, and it's called the round pill. And you're supposed to give them that first, and then you can give them other pills. My little dog is like, she's probably about they weighed her. I think she was 22. She's like a 22-pound Chihuahua. Okay.
Oh.
Now, in our defense, she does have enlarged organs due to this cancer. So, it's not all our fault. But anyways, they said give her this one red pill, and when I looked it up online, it's like the same dose for a human being, like a person too. But It is used for even gunshot wounds, any uncontrolled bleeding, any hemorrhaging, any internal hemorrhaging. It stops the bleeding. I will tell you that one little pill stopped my dog's bleeding. I didn't even give her any more than that. I'm somebody who doesn't always just follow the rules that I'm given by doctors, because I watch my body, or in this case, my dog's body, and evaluate whether or not I think she needs more. But that is now a medication that we keep on hand, is that Yunnan Baiyao for the hemorrhaging. So, I mean, whether or not you could give it to Coonies, Lisa, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're not veterinarians, so
Yep,
do your
yep,
own research,
yep.
folks.
That was given to me by a veterinarian.
Right,
So
right.
for my dog.
I'm
And
thinking
then,
of people watching the replay too, so that's why I want to make
yes,
sure we've got the disclaimers out there. But
yes.
it
So,
does sound like a good product to have
mhm,
around, you know,
yeah,
and so even the stuff that I was talking about earlier, you know, I'm not a vet, I'm not a doctor. This is
yep,
just stuff that I've learned from people who've learned from vets. Um, and again, it goes back to the animal responsibility that I was talking about earlier. If I had a vet here, I would gladly call a vet to come
yep,
out and evaluate, because then it helps me to learn
yep,
too.
mhm,
You know, rather than throwing 50 things at an animal and you don't know what you're doing, and it could end
yeah,
up bad, is the reality,
yep,
you know? So I think it's important to acknowledge that too. And,
mhm,
you know, it's not like I'm going to sit here and cut diesel open and remove a
right?
blockage.
Mm-mm,
You know,
mm-mm,
that's not happening.
mm-mm.
But you know, again, it just goes back to, we knew it was time to take him because of the signs he was showing.
Yeah,
You know, there were other signs. I'm just not going to share them with you because they're a little more in depth and disgusting.
yeah,
So you know when the plumbing's not working.
yes,
Let's just put it that way.
yeah, yeah.
Because if it just keeps coming out, there's something in the middle.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I couldn't find the full document. I will keep looking, but I did put some of the information on there. I know a lot of it had to do with antibiotics and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But I remember last time when I looked, I really had to dig for it, which ticks me off.
Yeah. Hey, Mickelson Family Homestead.
Hey, Kelly.
So in preparation, prevention's like, what do they say? Prevention is 1,000 times worth the cure.
Yeah.
So anything we can do to prevent something is helpful too. Just an example of our little dog. I always have to worry in where we lived before we had a dog door, but it was for big dogs because we got one big dog. So
Right.
we had to put a little step outside the door for the little dog. And then I just tried to prevent her from going out that as much as possible. I'd tell my husband, like, don't just open the door for her. I don't want, last thing we need is for her to break a leg.
Yeah.
And to have to go to the vet with her for that. Whatever we can do in that sense, as far as just preparing financially, like Lisa, I mean, I know how we are, like with our funds, we are a family that tries to keep cash on hand. Partly because I'm not a big fan of banks either, but for you guys, is that like your resource of funds for the animals? Is that something you just contribute to ongoing in that kind of way? Or do you just have that rainy day fund that's what you plug into?
Yeah. Hey, Callie King 916. I mean, obviously we always have a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just because I'm not going to drive around with
Yep.
that amount of money on me, because
Yeah.
you never know how much it's going to cost. And I just
Yep.
don't think that's smart.
Yeah.
True. You know, and so we pay that off. It's not like we
Mm-hmm.
carry debt on it, but
Yep.
we do contribute to it. I think overall,
Mm-hmm.
we have, it's not that it's an animal slush fund, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's, we put money away for emergencies, right?
Yep.
Because at any point in time, we could have an issue. We're homeowners.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
So, you know, and so whenever you have anything, preparing ahead of time, even though it could be, so I'm going to back up a minute. My mom used to roll dimes and pennies. Why she chose dimes and pennies, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But that woman was nuts about her dimes and pennies. I can tell you the speeches I had to hear about it. And she'd sit there and tell me, I go, what are you doing with dimes and pennies? And she'd be like, we go on vacation every year, the 5 of us, because of my dimes and pennies.
Yep.
So you could put $1 a week, $5 a week. Spare change, it adds up quickly. So this fits any budget. For us, we try to just be thrifty and put all of our money away that we can. We have, for example, we have egg money jars.
Mm-hmm.
We have piglet sale jars.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also have, money that goes in the bank. So I don't want people thinking I got large amounts of money here. I don't, folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we just have things available because the reality of it is you may need a little bit of cash. You may need a lot of cash. You don't know what you're going to need. So you need to contribute to it often. And like Kelly says, she's got a budget binder. And she said, it's really cool to watch it grow. Yeah, it is. And so my mom used to use the old envelope system. She'd take my father's paycheck and she'd put it in the envelopes. And that way, when her bill came due, she pulled it out of the envelope and paid it. And it feels really good because the stress of not having the money freaks you out.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
And so I feel like when I have the stress of having to take care of an animal, I don't have the added financial stress. And I'm not rich by any means. It's just that we've chosen to be super cheap any way we can. So that way, when we have an emergency, we can take care of it and it doesn't devastate us. Because if you think about it, you can end up having an emergency and you don't have the money and then you don't have money for food.
Yep.
So that's why we're cheap and we've got a pantry. That's why we've got other stuff stocked up, because you have a devastating emergency that's financial and all of a sudden you can't pay for anything else. Well, you can't lose your house too. Because now, like, if you don't pay foreclosures years ago, the joke was, you could go months living in the house. And I say the joke because people used to say, like, oh, they're not going to bother me for months. Now it's 1 month, they're coming after you. So, I just think it's really important for people to be prepared, because if you're prepared financially, it just takes so much stress and anxiety off of your brain. Still freaks you out because you got to pay a lot, but it just gives you that reassurance that, okay, I can focus on what matters versus freaking out that I can't eat this month because I had to pay for an animal.
Yep. Or having to put an animal that you love down because you can't afford to take care of them, which is heartbreaking too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our two dogs, Diesel and Yogi, were both surrenders because they couldn't be taken care of. And I know there were a variety of reasons why, but I can tell you that, when you adopt a rescue, they come with baggage.
Yeah.
And then again, like I said, going back to the breed, then you have the breed baggage. Right. And I could get a, a mutt, right? We just love the old English bulldogs.
They are so cute. I'm glad you told me all that, because now I'm not going to get one.
Yeah, don't get one.
About how much they require a vet. That's good to know, because they are so precious. I just love all bulldogs. I just love a bulldog in general.
Me too. And it's funny because I remember when we went to, right after Yogi passed, I was looking at bulldogs at a bulldog rescue. And somebody might look at the applications and be like, wow, these people are crazy. No, they're trying to prepare you for having a bulldog, which is expensive. And, if you look at all the people, I'm laughing at Christine. I just looked at the chat. I came with baggage too, and off the wall prepper adopted me. Hey, Christina. Hey, off the wall prepper.
Oh, and hi, dragonflies. Thanks you all for coming in.
But yeah, I mean, it's sort of like it goes back to the whole chick, rabbit, and duckling thing. Right? Everybody buys them because they're so cute.
Yeah.
And then they abandon them, or they toss them out in the woods because they realize, Imagine that times 50 for a bulldog.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like bulldogs like to eat wheels on things, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I want to share because we got new people in the chat. When you see me looking down, off the wall prepper, my computer's still not working. So
Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
my phone set up here, and I've got my laptop down here. So I'm looking up to be able to see Lisa and chat and have everybody be able to see me. But I'm looking down to see my laptop to see the chat. So when you see me look down, that's why.
Yep, me too. I'm checking out the chat here.
Anybody new to the chat too? Lisa just shared, and Lisa, I'm just going to share this again because it was new to me, and I don't know how many people it's new to, but apparently, over-the-counter medications for our animals, a very extensive, long list of them, are no longer going to be available after June of next year. So, good thing to keep in mind. We talked about some of the medications that are good to stock up on, that are on that list.
Yeah, so apparently they started this in September 14th, 2018, and they unveiled a 5-year action plan for supporting antimicrobial stewardship in veterinary settings. And so basically it affects any medically important antimicrobial and antibiotic new animal drugs that continue to remain available will now be requiring a prescription. Veterinary oversight is what they're saying. I gotta find the link. I just can't multitask. Because I know last time I had to dig really far, but one of them is like a mastitis medication. I mean, if you think about it, ranchers and farmers deal with mastitis a lot. Hey, Candy Dudette Watson.
Hey there, Candy.
So, I mean, you think about it, mastitis was something we had to look for in our pigs because when they dry up, that's when mastitis can kick in. So, and that's an infection, and unfortunately it requires an antibiotic, and I'm not like, oh, we got to have antibiotics for everything, but there's some things that just require it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Dragonflies.
Yep.
So it says the plan aims to address antimicrobial resistance. Man. They
got to validate it somehow.
I'm not judiciously going, injecting my pigs. I only do it because we have a little bit of a concern.
Yep.
Like they have to have a concern. Even for my proactive, I've been watching the girls. We talked about the girls having pink skin. I've been watching it for weeks now. And it's just pinkish skin. I mean, it could be sunburn for all I know. I don't know, but I don't have a vet to tell me.
Yeah.
But what concerns me now is that it's spreading from one to another. Sunburn doesn't spread.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been watching them. They're not like laying out. Fiona has not been laying in the sun. Eleanor has, but Fiona has not. So for her to start developing that pink underneath her, you know what I mean? There's something going on.
Yeah. Thanks, Shift Kicker. You too.
I mean, scours. Treatment for scours. That's a lifestyle.
What is scours?
Scours is diarrhea in a young animal. So for example, if a calf has scours, that could be a fatal illness. It needs to be treated right away. And also, that was one of the prep things we had for the piglets also was something to treat scours because scours in a piglet could mean death in 2 hours. You know what I mean?
My gosh, in 2 hours?
Well, I mean, they get that sick real quick. And it could be an allergy, Christina. We were talking about earlier about how they've blown their coats, but we have to keep an eye on it because we can't have something spreading through the herd. So just trying to be prepared as much as possible. Hey, JW Survival.
Hey, JW. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. The suddenness is what's telling me it's not an allergy. The onset of it.
Lisa, have you put any new hay or nothing?
No. Like I said, I mean, there's a whole list of symptoms that are leading me to believe there's something going on.
Yeah.
Because Eleanor was thin, which is why we weaned at 6 weeks, because her body condition had reduced. And trust me, the way that girl is being fed, she should be gaining weight. She's not. So that tells me that something's going on, which could be a worm issue.
The worm. Oh, so that's perfect. The what you're giving her, the Dectomax, is perfect.
Yep.
Because it's treating a possibility of mange mites, and then it's also a wormer. Perfect.
Yeah, and a lot of people...
That's a good medication to have on hand.
And a lot of people use Dectomax on their regular vaccination schedule where they do it once a year. We have not done that because we don't want to just give medications.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're figuring we need to keep them healthy.
Yeah.
And so if we give them one and, two, they get treated twice with it. So they'll get 2 injections, then they're good to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is. It's hard to get a vet appointment, let alone a farm vet. We have no vets that will treat swine here. None. South Dakota is very traditional mindset when it comes to ranching. So I'll leave it at that. I'm sure what people know what traditional is. So the animal is either doing well or the animal's not on the farm.
Yeah.
I'm on Western North Carolina, and when we had a meat pig get sick, a meat pig, mind you, I called over 30 people, 30 vets from like 2 hours away, a 2-hour radius from us.
That's what I was just going through my mind as to how far you had to have searched for that.
Called, and
Apocalyptic Ben.
Yeah, hey, Apocalyptic Ben. Nobody would do that. And so I don't just do it. Like, I talk to other people. I have called vets and said, can you at least answer my question? Can you please help?
Yeah.
A lot of them have said no. I have one that said yes, but I try not to bug him too often because he's agreed to help me when he was reluctant. So I don't want to be his new crazy pig lady.
Yeah.
Because he's great. He's been great to help me.
I think that it would be wonderful if everybody who ran into problems with their animals and had to take them to a vet, or maybe they had something on hand because they'd already learned from prior experience how to treat it, I think it'd be wonderful if they'd share quick videos about that. I think there's so much we could learn, and the fact that those medications, those over-the-counter vet medications, are not going to be available after June of next year makes me so uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
That's going to be on my list of things to make sure that we get in stock even before I get the animal. Because, we've got the goats and chickens and dogs, and I know I want more animals next year. So, I'm wanting coonies.
Yes, you are.
And I've been thinking about like maybe sheep or alpacas or something, because I love the idea of sharing them for their wool.
I do too. The other thing, and I'm typing it in the chat, and again, not doctors, but a good reference is the Merck Veterinary Manual. I just put the name in there. You can Google it, but that's really, really helpful too. Someone had suggested that to me because it just helps you to learn more about things.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, so it was hard to get medicine for my goats here because some vet clinics wouldn't let me get them without being a patient, even though it was simple stuff. Yep, absolutely. And That's what we're talking about. We're, like, if you have access to a vet, we highly recommend going to a vet, because we are not doctors. We are not experts. We are not medically trained. We're not veterinarians. But it's in the event you don't have a vet, what do you do? Like I said with Diesel, like a vet was the only way to go with him. We needed to be x-rayed and checked out. And if he needed surgery, he needed a vet. Thankfully, he didn't. But when it comes to the pigs and there's no vet available, a lot of people don't have chicken vets, and they think, well, it's a chicken, well, I could just put it down. Sure. But there's also simple conditions that you can treat in a chicken to prevent you from losing an egg layer. I know for us, when we lost half our flock in April, that impacted the egg business huge, because now we're waiting on chickens to start producing, and we barely have eggs for ourselves.
It takes a while.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I had somebody reach out to me and said they had like 5 chickens that are laying, and I'm like, yes, I want to go see them. Because we need more laying hens.
Yep. And then keep them separate from your other chickens, just in case something comes up with them.
Yeah, for probably about a month. Usually I do 2 weeks. It depends, but I think these will be about a month, just because usually I have a lot more background on them. And so you can have, chickens that look just fine and they're really sick, like they could have Merrick's disease or something, and that'll kill your whole flock. Yeah, you did. That's right. Vets don't do home visits. You have to find a farm vet. And that's the thing. I can find a farm vet around here, but they do cows.
Yeah.
Cows and sheep.
Horses. Probably.
Horses. Oh, they love horses.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, a horse doesn't serve a purpose for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But I know that when I called the emergency vet in the middle of the night to ask for guidance on Fiona's birth, I did not hear from the vet until 10 in the morning. And that was because he was out of service delivering a horse. Complicated horse birth. So,
yeah.
Hey, John H.
Hey, John H.
So it's really hard. That's why we're grateful to have found the one guy who's out of his house. But like I said, he's an elderly gentleman who's sick. And so all of his knowledge, sadly, will be gone one day.
Yeah.
And it's sad, because those old school vets are just really, really good, valuable people.
Yep. And I think, again, shoot, I'm going to be studying up on herbs for animals. I mean, it could come to a point where that's what we need to know. I mean, we can stock up and be prepared as best we can, but what if we can't get the animal to a vet? What if a vet can't get to the animal just in time? You know what I mean?
Right.
So between the herbal skills and the hands-on care for those, triage sorts of things you can triage there. I mean, wound care, things like that. That's just what I'm thinking is a good thing to be prepared with. Absolutely. Hey, does anybody have questions for us?
How is it, while we're waiting, how has it been an hour?
Huh?
How has it been an hour already?
It went fast, didn't it?
Gosh, do you guys want to see a part 2 on this? While we're waiting? And Tammy, I'm going to just tell you one thing. Guess where I'm going when we're done?
Where?
To see the piglets, the 3 that...
Oh!
The 3. I'm going to see Porky Rambo and
my goodness,
Miss Daisy Pickles. They want me to come see them.
Are they gonna let you take some video, at least for just to share with me?
Maybe. I'm going to ask permission. I won't take video because I respect their privacy, but I'm going to see if I can take a few pics.
Yeah. Oh,
but
they're so. I can't wait.
Oh, people said yes.
All right.
Bacon babies, yes.
Awesome. We will do that. Maybe next week we'll have a part 2.
I say part 2.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to talk more about that list. I want to look through that link and see what's in there. And
what I'll do is try to find the full list after I come back, and I'll send it to you, and then that way we can have it ready to share with everybody. We can talk about the important changes, maybe in more detail.
Yeah, I like that.
You're the bomb, Tammy.
You are the bomb, Lisa. Big hugs to you.
Big hugs to you. As Off the Wall Prepper says, doesn't he say,
yes,
big prepper
big
hug?
Prepper hugs.
Big goal hugs to you.
Yep. Ark just shared comfrey and cabbage leaf make great poultices. Yeah.
Ark's the man when it comes to that stuff.
He is. And he's been learning since he was a child.
Yeah, it's all about culture, right? And all learning about all that stuff.
It is. And what I love about Ark Wildman's studies of herbs is he can not only tell you how to use them, he can tell you where to find them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas it's always fun to chat with him because I can't tell you where to find all the herbs. Mountain Rose herbs, you can order them in, I think is like, and I'll order herbs, right? Because especially in Arizona, there wasn't a lot of them around, and I wasn't very successful in growing them. But I can't wait to grow them here. Oh my gosh, that's going to be so fun. But yeah, it's always fun chatting with him because, yeah.
Dragonfly said bumblefoot in chickens happens a lot. Yeah, I've known people who've never dealt with it. We have dealt with some significant cases of it. Because I'm convinced, I could be totally wrong, but I'm convinced it's because of the pine cones and the pine needles. But we've had it where we've had chickens with double bumblefoot, and we've had to operate on them. And I will say I'm a little leery to post those videos sometimes because
YouTube.
I'm not a vet.
Yeah.
They say, oh, soak, but we all know that it's a MRSA infection. And if it's severe enough, the core has to be removed. And I will say this, chickens are troopers. Chickens are troopers when it comes to surgery like that. Unbelievable troopers.
No kidding.
Oh, they will not show it.
We've never had any birds have that. And we had like 40 birds when we were in the valley before we went up north. And I mean, that included like some turkeys and all kinds of chickens and some ducks. I'm not a duck fan, but
me neither.
The feathers, such a mess, those feathers. But we never had that. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And that chocolate pie Wise Owl 1111. I wish you could share with us too.
No kidding. I was sitting there like this, trying not to look like this.
I know. I think I'm like, seriously, that sounds good. I might be having to cook something yummy today.
Sounds good.
Thank you all for watching. We will be back here on Mountain Grandma channel next week, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and 12 o'clock Central Time. And I'll let y'all figure it out for the rest of the time zones. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next week, and we will continue this discussion on animal emergency preparedness. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Okay, now I have to close this the right way because I messed up last time. Hang on.